Hello, hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about why and how to GraphQL. So my name is Nicolas Despres. I'm working as a program architect for Salesforce. And you can find some public information on the GitHub GraphQL API. And hopefully at the end of the session, you should be able to do something like this and retrieve information about anybody on GitHub through their profile. And you'll see more detail about that. Safe harbor slide, mandatory, so don't take any buying decision on things that are not does not exist yet. Okay, so small icebreaker to start, right? We are in France. I think it's really important for those of you that are not French that we should start and talk about food. Food is really important here. So, we should talk about planning our lunch, right? So we have two options for lunch, usually. Either through a menu or through a buffet. I think today is going to be a buffet. They both serve the same purpose. They both are applicable to in today's world. It's not like one replace another, right? On different benefit to one or another. I think it's really important to understand the parallel between this approach, like a menu through a restaurant, on a buffet, because there are aspects of this that can be interesting when you understand GraphQL. So, in GraphQL, restaurant. Thank you for this one on the GraphQL buffet. So in the restaurant, you will be sitting right, and you be asking the waiter, ordering plates that are on the menu, and you will have to wait, right, on your table. It will bring back a number of items, right, that you order. On GraphQL buffet, it's different. You will have to walk into the buffet and make your plate. You take whatever is available on the buffet through, in GraphQL, what we call a schema. So both serve the same purpose, right, building UI, or here, feeding you. They are applicable. One is not going to replace the other. But depending on your use case, it's interesting to see the different options. Today, it's not possible to have a menu. It's going to be a buffet because it's a big, large conference, right? So I hope today you will understand some use case where you benefit from this approach. Another example, sorry. What's that? Is when you order a cheeseburger, right? On the REST approach, you have no option, right? I want a burger. On GraphQL, you'll pick whatever you want. And this is more efficient because sometimes you're vegetarian and so on. So that's the other approach of what GraphQL are like. So now we'll jump into the topic, right? On the agenda. So first part of this session, we'll talk about the GraphQL endpoint. Really the basics, what's tied to the core architecture. Secondly, we'll talk about the tools offered with GraphQL. Then we'll discuss about the wire adapter that you can use in LWC. And finally, we'll talk about the next steps, right? So first, the GraphQL endpoint. It's one single endpoint, right? Here you have the address of the endpoint, and it's available. Today it's GA, it's very important, so generally available. You can use it safely into your orgs. So, before talking about the endpoint, right, let's talk about GraphQL. So it's something that was invented by Facebook, provided by Facebook in 2015. As I said, it's a single endpoint to aggregate all of your resources. You request only what you need. And it's schema-driven, so declarative. Very, very nice with what we do in Salesforce. It's widely adopted. There is a large community. We'll talk about that. The basics, right? Here's an example. So today, all of you are probably familiar with what's on the left, SOQL query. You query data into Salesforce. This is what you do with GraphQL, right? This is the equivalent. So it's different syntax, but it's really the same. Yeah, I like this picture. you can mutate the data. So you can query the data and you can mutate the data. Be careful, it's in beta on the top. So this is not yet GA, but you can as well create and update multiple records in one API call through this API. All right. I see some of you are not necessarily convinced. Why use 20 lines to do something you can do in 5? Are you crazy? What syntax is that? I have to learn something new? SQL is just fine. Or why do we provide another API? We were just fine. Well, okay, we have something for you. So what if I told you, you don't have to write this query. There are tools that are going to help you do that. So you don't necessarily have to know everything, to read the matrix. Something is going to be there for you. Secondly, it's LDS ready, and we'll talk about that a bit later into more details. And thirdly, there is a very large community behind it. So it's not only Salesforce anymore with SQL. There is a community. So here you see big names like AWS, Microsoft. There is GitHub. There is Facebook, and so on. The community is widely adopting this. So there are tools. There are other folks on the market that will be able to help you with that, or bring other clients to do that. That's introduced us to the second part of this session, the tools. The tools brought mainly by the community. So in the second part of the agenda. There is something I like to use. It's called the state of GraphQL. It's just a survey that an open survey that they send to people in the community, and people answer, what they prefer as part of the tools. Here I've noted a few tools that are available into the community. 3 of them actually are mentioned in the Salesforce doc, but others are available. You can use them. Those tools will help you build the request and interact with your graph. They are important to know. There is something else that is specific to Salesforce that you can use that I've developed. I will share it with you a bit later today in a demo. It's a Chrome extension called SF Explorer. The benefit of this compared to the other solution, it's you don't have to provide a connected app to be able to interact with Salesforce, a bit like Inspector. You just log in into your org and you're set. It's embedding some tools like GraphQL. It's bringing examples and also dev tools. So dev tools, you remember we were coming from 5 lines to 20 lines. Well, this is a tool I've developed that can help you do that. You translate your SQL into the GraphQL. So basically, and we'll see that in the demo. You give your SQL, you say, give me the GraphQL. That's it, right? So it's can be interesting. And after, I will show you the other example. You can generate a template of LWC that brings all the data you need to do your LWC. Okay, so next part, the wire adapter. Very, very important. So now we are on the Salesforce platform. The tools were outside. Into the Salesforce platform where when you work on Lightning, you have the wire adapter. That's what we are going to talk about. So it's enable directly native query within your LWC. So before, and we'll see examples, you were with this SQL, you had to do a controller. The issue with this controller is not using the LDS, right? So you have no data consistency. You can have, for example, data into one component that does not update the other one. And we'll see another specific example about that. And it's more spaghetti code, right? Because you have to write your LWC, you have to write your controller, you have to write your Apex test class, and so on and so on. So the wire adapter is taking all of that away. an example of LDS, what I call LDS, fairly important, Lightning Data Service. So the concept, right? If you don't have LDS on one component, for example, here, component A is using a custom Apex controller using the SQL. You update the data into component B. It's going to Salesforce. And your component A is not updated, does not communicate, right? On to the other example, everything is connected into the clients through the Lightning Data Service. And the data is refreshed in all the components when they change. Very powerful because there is not necessarily difficult to implement. Oops. So, enough talking. We'll talk about, we'll see this in action, right? A small demo is better than a lot of talk. So, you probably know this application. It's the Dream House application. It's an application, a demo application you will find in LWC recipe. Kind of popular. What's interesting with this application is it's using exactly the pattern I described, right? So as a cell user, when I connect and change a property name, like here, I'll change the name of the property, and I save, I have disconnect, right? You see, the name on the top is not the same as the name in the component. Because here, behind the scene, this is using an Apex controller. This is not using Lightning Data Service. And there is some complexity in building that. What we'll do into the demo is I will show you how we can replace this LWC, take out the Apex, and do the interaction with the Lightning Data Service, so the data is updated. So that's going to be the use case. So how do we do that, and how you can do this yourself? Well, you can install the Dreamin LWC app from GitHub. Inside of this, there is a controller class here with SQL. So this is the SQL that's requesting the data on this, and then we display the data on the front end. We use the tools available. So we translate this into a GraphQL query. We can test this into the tools you want from the community. And then we'll translate it into LWC through this other tool. And then we're good, okay? So we have 2 minutes to do that, hopefully. Okay, this is my Dreamhouse application. And I will just show you the disconnect into we'll just try to reproduce the issue that was raised by your user. So you see, I'll fix there is an issue with this property name. I'm going to save this. I have to refresh my page. It's not updated. So this is the use case we're trying to replace at the end of this demo. So now, to be able to do that, there is this small Chrome extension I'm going to show you. So here you can, for example, show the information about the LWC that are behind the screen. That can be helpful for you to understand. So there is a Lightning, the LWC property tile, and there is other one called property tile list, right? And this property tile list is the one making the query to the Apex controller. So you can see that, and you can open Explorer, right, to do something like a query. So there is a number of options into the tool. One thing where you can do directly, right, you can execute a GraphQL query. So I'm just here making a query to find the contact through their names. You can see something into the tool that can be helpful is you have examples, so built-in examples here specific to Salesforce that you can find into the history. For example, searching accounts with their opportunity. That's another query, right? This is a query you can play and change. So this tool here is called graphQL. So it's embedding graphQL into your Salesforce org. So you can interact with your data just retrieve that. Okay. So that's for the basics, right, of GraphQL through this. What you can do is use this option, right, the translation tool. The translation tool is like here you write your SOQL and you translate this into GraphQL. That's it. And so you see, I have just limit 2, limit 5, and it's translate into your GraphQL. So this is for the second demo. I'll show you. This is the data, the input we'll use for the other queries that I prepared. But that's it. What you have into graphql is a documentation. So all the data that you have into your orgs, like the accounts, the contact, and so on, this is available. This is not something you have to develop. It's building some tools from the community. So it's available from here. So next, what we want to do is to use all the query we have in the controller. So I'm going to take a VS Code. This is a controller, right? This is a controller I was telling you about, property controller. And here I have my query, right? I'm going to take it, select, that's a big select. Okay, I'm copy pasting this query. All right. On offset 0. These two parts are not yet working as binding, but you keep the bindings, right? The same bindings as you add into your controller, and then you have your query. So I'm going to just put that a bit bigger. So now you can execute your query, and so you see from the SOQL we copied from our controller, we translated this into. Let me close the doc. Into a GraphQL. There is a number of parameters, there is a number of criteria, and this is the result, right? And this is not Salesforce specific. This is something you can use into your own GraphQL client. So that's available from here. Next, what we want to do is to transform this into an LWC. I'm going to give it some variables. So the variables are the data that are going to be passed here as the input of your query. I'm going to take this up. All right. This is the data. This is input. So now you can play with this. You can use any criteria you want, and that's it. You have your query. The second part of this is the LWC generation. So this is a template, right? You remember the tool. The second tool, it's GraphQL to LWC. Just did it, right? I did not generate it yet. I still have to review it. I can make some changes, and then I will create my my LWC FTD demo. So just going to give it a component name, right? And then we can make some changes as well. Like I can change here the title. Okay. And I click on generate. So that's it. This generated a query. Right now you'll see it's basic. After we'll improve it to be a bit more like what's specified. But first let's try this. So I'm going to edit the page into the builder. And this component is called FTD demo, the one I just created. And that's the component I just created. You see, so for now it's pretty raw. 5 minutes, okay. Right now it's pretty raw, but I just want to show you that one benefit of this is it's connected to your LDS. I think this is the part we wanted to fix. I'm going to say it with another name. And you see, No, it's refreshed. This list is refreshed. Well, to finish this demo, you just take the same data you have to your template here. Into your, you replace the default. So I was using a Lightning data table here. You put the same template as you had into your initial component. I think here there is something else I need to add, which is the callback. And that's it. You can republish, and we'll have our demo. Our demo ready. Okay, I'm just going to generate this and refresh the page. Oops. I've been too fast, sorry. Demo effect. Sorry. I have this, sorry, I did not know, maybe I missed something. We're running out of time, but the ID, I think you got the ID. You have the data, you just plug it into your own, your old LWC component, and you're good to go. Not necessarily the point I wanted to make. So since we only have a couple of minutes left, go jump into the next steps, right? The next step on what we have accomplished so far. So there is a lot that happened into the last few versions into GraphQL. So the GraphQL API in Winter 23. More recently, so Winter, the GraphQL wire adapter that brings you the LDS. There are no other things coming. One important aspect, I think, that will be nice for all of us is the fact that this is not working with Experience Cloud. Sorry. And that's something really expected by the community. The other one, I think that you may want to wait for is the mutation when it's going to be GA, so you can take advantage of this as well. There is some other capability like optional fields. So today, it's restricted to the fields. All the fields have to be there, right? If you don't have the user cannot read the field, it's going to fail. So there is no optional field like what you can do in get record, for example. There is dynamic field as well, some new directive, and some metadata setup. That's some information I got from our PM. There is nothing that you should be basing your decision on, but it's good to have an information about what we have in mind. So it's what we have into the horizon. Okay. So is this one API to rule them all? So an open question, right? So are you ready to join the community? Huh? Yes? Yes, sir. On Winter 24, he's here. It's a number of small reference. I don't know if you have any question. I think it's be happy to take them. Yes.
What about namespaces? Because when I'm reading a package, I do not hardcode my namespace, right? And then after installing on customer org, I suppose it's going to just stop working.
I know for the packaging, it was not working when you were using a controller into your Apex, an Apex controller that's in the package. That's what you. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I did not try it, but I don't think it's going to be an issue like you would do into writing an SQL. Okay, yeah. But it can be helpful for vendors because it's just text at the end. There is no parsing. There is no import. You have the query which is basically embedded into a text. You see, so there is no. It's not tied to a package technically speaking. Yes.
What is the status of Salesforce related to Composite API? Because this is almost like Composite API. Are you going to shut it down?
No, I don't know. I don't know about specifically about that. Yeah, something I did not necessarily mention is you can do multiple queries. So you can do instead of Here I was giving example of just one SOQL, but I can have another section of my query, another completely different query. That's possible.
So you can have one query with account and contact, same query?
Yes, same call. Same call, you can query multiple things. Yes, another yes.
Is it supporting only UI API, or for example, objects from tooling API or metadata as well can be used via GraphQL?
So there is one point, yeah, there is one point into the roadmap for setup entities. But there is a, yeah, I think this is coming in the roadmap, yeah. So thanks everyone.